I do not own the rights to this music. Hello, and welcome to Sunday School Summary with Brother Ron, Sunday School lesson for Sunday, January the 18th, 2026. Our reference material for the Sunday School Summary is based upon the International Sunday School Lesson Series as published by the Sunday School Publishing Board. In the Winter 2025-26 lesson series, we are discussing the teachings of the Bible in relation to the defining elements of the Christian faith, with a focus on God and God's nature and divine self-expression. We are in Unit 2, and we are talking about grace and reconciliation. The title of our 7th lesson comes from Unit 2 of the 2025 Winter Lesson Series, and it's titled A Time to be Bold, A Time to be Humble, or in other words, an attitude of prayer through humility. The key verse comes from Luke chapter 18, verse 14, and it reads, I tell you this man rather than the Pharisee went home justified, for everyone who exalts himself will be humbled, but the one who humbles himself will be exalted. So the man, the tax collector in this case, went home being justified or right in his relationship with God. The title of today's lesson, A Time to be Bold and a Time to be Humble, comes from the books of Genesis, Luke, and 1 John. And the books all connect a theme of fervent prayer or petition to God, and it's always paired with an attitude of humility in relation to God and with God. The theme opens as God appears as human form to Abraham, and he told him of his decision to punish the people of Sodom and Abraham's reaction to this news from God, which brings us to today's lesson. There are two summary lesson points for today. Confident boldness in prayer, and that's from Genesis chapter 18, verses 25 through 27 and 30 through 32, and 1 John chapter 5, verses 14 and 15. And confident humility in prayer, and that's from Luke chapter 18, verses 9 through 14. The passages for the lesson today revolve around the key words of faith, wisdom, confidence, and the word. And we know that faith is a complete trust, assurance, belief, or confidence in God. It is the confidence that God hears our prayers when we approach God with our petitions in a spirit of humility in today's lesson. And wisdom is the ability to apply experience, knowledge, and understanding to produce good judgment. It is the wisdom to not trust our righteousness in our relationship and prayer to God in today's lesson. And confidence is the ability to apply the feeling or belief that we can rely on someone or something. It's a firm trust, and it is the confidence that God hears us whenever we ask for anything that pleases him in today's lesson. And the word is the scriptures inspired by the Holy Spirit that communicates God's will, laws, and prophecies as embodied by Jesus Christ. And the word addresses God, answers prayer that pleases him in today's lesson. Our first summary point is confident boldness in prayer from Genesis chapter 18, verses 25 through 27, and verses 30 through 32, and 1 John chapter 5, verses 14 and 15. And these passages, Abraham challenges or seeks understanding of the limits of God's grace on his decision to punish Sodom in today's lesson. He says, "Will you kill them all, the good people and the bad people? Surely you will not do anything like that." And he goes on to say, "You will not punish the good people in the same way as the bad people." He says, "But you are the great judge of everyone on the earth, and you surely will do what is right." So he's saying that from his understanding of God, that God will surely do what is right. He's only seeking understanding. And the Lord replied that if there were 50 good people in the city of Sodom, then he would not destroy the place because of the 50 good people. Abraham further pressed God, and he said, "I have been brave enough to speak to the Lord." And he says, "I know I am nothing more than dust and ashes." So he has a recognition, or a humble recognition, of his status to God. And he goes on to say, "Then may the Lord not be angry, but let me ask you further. Suppose there are 30 people who are found to be righteous in the city." And God replied, "If I find 30, I will not do it." And Abraham ventured further and said, "If there are 20, and God says, "On account of the 20, I will not destroy it." And finally, Abraham said, "May the Lord not be angry." But he further wanted to clarify, but he says, "Suppose there are 10 who are found there." And the Lord replied, "Because of the 10 good people, I will not destroy the city." And goes on to say, this is Abraham's prayer for the sparing of Sodom. Our second point is confident boldness in prayer, and that's continuation of the previous point. And these passages, 1 John offers encouragement and confidence in prayer for the new believers. And he says, "And this is the confidence that we have before him, that if we ask anything according to his will, he hears us." And the emphasis is according to his will, not our will. And he says we are confident that he hears us whenever we ask for things that pleases him, meaning according to his will. And since we know he hears us, then we will make our requests. We also know that we will receive what we ask for. So it's the confidence that we will receive what we are praying for if it is within God's will. The second summary point is confident humility in prayer from Luke chapter 18, verses 9 through 14. In these passages, Jesus uses a parable to contrast the prayers of the Pharisee and the tax collector, and declares the tax collector or acknowledged sinner as being righteous with God. He starts off by saying to some who trusted their own righteousness and viewed others with contempt. And he also told this parable. He says there were 2 men who went up to the temple to pray, and one was a Pharisee and the other was a tax collector. The Pharisee stood by himself and prayed, and he thanked the Lord that he was not like the other sinners who were swindlers, evildoers, adulterers, or evil like the tax collector. So he is saying that he is righteous and he is above sin. And that is contrasted with the tax collector, who sat at a distance, and he was unwilling even to lift his eyes to heaven. He says, instead he beat his chest and said, "God, have mercy on me," which indicates that he was repentant and ashamed of his sins, and he was repenting. And he says, "I tell you that this man, rather than the Pharisees, went home justified or righteous with God." So we should not trust our own righteousness when we approach God, but we should approach God with a spirit of humility, recognizing that we are human and we are subject to sin. This is Brother Ron with the Sunday School Summary for Sunday, January the 18th, 2026. Thank you for watching. Have a blessed week, and we hope to see you next Sunday for another edition of Sunday School Summary with Brother Ron.